Well, no matter who wins the CPAC straw poll, the contest is far from over. Take a look at this. It has been a wild race. Momentum swings. Bachmann, Perry, Romney, Gingrich, Santorum, each claiming victories. And look at this. Despite all of it, a Fox News poll shows 49% of Republican voters looking for somebody else to jump in the race. What does this say about GOP chances, about taking back the White House? Jessica Brady joins us. She is a staff writer for Roll Call. Jessica, good to see you.
Good to see you, Greg.
Is it your sense that voters in the GOP may be a little fickle these days?
Well, certainly you've seen them try on a different outfit throughout this entire primary election season. There was Michelle Bachmann, there was Chris Christie, there was Newt Gingrich. Everybody seems to always come back to Mitt Romney as their fail-safe, and then they'll look for something else. Now it's Rick Santorum. But again, remember, Mitt Romney is the one that's leading in the polls consistently and certainly in matchups against President Obama.
So he's, in your judgment, he is the leading contender. He probably, you know, he's actually won fewer states, but he has more delegates.
Well, that's certainly true. And, you know, looking to Super Tuesday, obviously he's got his eye on some of the big prizes, such as Ohio. And we'll have to see. That's a long way away from now.
What about Newt Gingrich and Rick Santorum? Are they still splitting the vote?
It certainly makes it easier for Governor Romney, don't you think, to have the two fighting for conservative support? Yeah. Definitely. It siphons off that vote, which helps Mitt Romney. But like you all are seeing at CPAC right now, he is still trying to do the dance to win the conservatives, who have always been skeptical of him going back since 2008. Is
a protracted primary good or bad?
It's an interesting question. I mean, I've certainly heard Republicans make the case that it helped Barack Obama in his very, very contentious primary against Hillary Clinton, and that's what inevitably helped him. Of course, now we're seeing in the polls that this protracted primary is pulling down the GOP brand name, and you know, in a new ABC Washington Post poll, President Obama is leading Governor Romney.
I want to throw another poll up on the screen. It is true that, you know, people regard Mitt Romney as the guy who has the credentials.
Right.
But look at this. He is also regarded as the Republican presidential candidate with the best case against Barack Obama. What do you think of that?
Well, I think that certainly any Republican candidate is going to try to go after Barack Obama's 4 years in office. They're going to make this a mandate on what he has done as president. Mitt Romney, very much, we've all seen him talk about what he did in the state of Massachusetts, aside from his health care reform plan, saving the Olympics, his success in business. He's going to try to be that outsider, that non-Washington entity that's the best matchup against the president. Of course, the Obama campaign is looking to make this a focus on their candidate their opponent. And I think that they would love to make it an issue of Mitt Romney and his tenure at Bain Capital, what he did in the governor's mansion in Massachusetts.
All right, there are 10 states that are up for grabs on Super Tuesday, March 6th.
Right.
Right. How do you see that happening?
Well, between now and then, Governor Romney is going to definitely play hard in the primaries that are coming up, Arizona and Michigan. He needs those wins to regain some of the momentum that he lost since South Carolina. And then going into Super Tuesday, you're going to see him play hard in Ohio. If he can win that state, then he can say, look, I took a state that's going to be a crucial swing state in the general election against Barack Obama. There's 10 states, like you said, on Super Tuesday. Some of them are in the South. We'll probably see Newt Gingrich do well in some of those. But again, remember, Santorum is making Newt Gingrich really run for his money, and he's doing well in some of those southern states, particularly with the evangelical voters. So again, we could see Super Tuesday with 10 states coming out the same way that we've seen this primary season. It could just be all over the map,
you know,
and a little bit of everybody.
Michelle Bachmann was examined and didn't hold up. Rick Perry, same thing.
Right.
And then, of course, Newt Gingrich up and down. Has Rick Santorum actually been examined yet?
Well, I could be wrong about this, but I'm not sure that he's released his tax returns. That'll be interesting. And, you know, some Republicans that I know from Capitol Hill have said, you know, Rick Santorum's running the same campaign that he ran in 2006 when he lost his own Senate re-election campaign. I'm not sure that storyline has been told necessarily. And as he's become more and more a part of this conversation, certainly there'll be more scrutiny on him.
Well, and have there been a couple of missteps? I'm thinking I'm thinking of one controversy in particular, but
Right.
also his, his stance on earmarks. He was a huge protector of earmarks.
Right. Well, we're certainly seeing Mitt Romney make that an issue, aren't we? I do think, yes, like any candidate, he's had his missteps. Certainly he made this comment about women serving in the military that was somewhat controversial, and he had to clean up. And, the question has always been with Rick Santorum, does his campaign sort of have the infrastructure and the wherewithal to sort of manage the hype that's around it? Yeah, I think that he's having to deal with that issue right now.
Well, and Jessica, it's also interesting that this year it's backloaded instead of front-loaded. The primaries are, most of them are at the end of the season instead of the front end, and they're also winner-take-all after April 1st and not so before that. That makes a huge difference, doesn't it?
Sure. Oh, definitely, definitely. The thing that I think is so interesting that we saw in 2008 and now, with these longer primaries, as sort of a news and political junkie, you certainly learn more about the process and how interesting it is, and each of the states has their different way of doing things. And it's going to be even more interesting to see how the campaigns adjust to it. Certainly Mitt Romney's is the one that's the well-oiled machine, but again, he hasn't sunk it just yet.
If Ron Paul comes out the winner today, what does that mean for him?
Not really sure. I mean, he'll definitely get a temporary bounce, absolutely, and some buzz. But remember, Governor Romney won that straw poll in 2008, and he didn't end up being the nominee. So it's not necessarily anything that guarantees any positive outcomes beyond that.
All right. Jessica Brady of Roll Call, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you.